Good evening, St. James. It's Father Stephen, and it's been a long time since I have done a COVID update for you all. The last time I did a COVID update, I believe, was back in March, and a lot has changed since then. But one thing that has not changed is the virus is still present with us, and in fact, now the virus is more widespread than it ever has been. St. James reopened in October for public worship, following the diocesan guidelines. And that was for limited public worship, with a maximum of 25 people in the church. Hand sanitizing, social distancing, masks, special way of distributing communion, all those things. And all those things that we did were to help prevent the spread of this virus and to help keep you safe as well as keep us safe while we got together and worshiped together. And we've had great success. We've not had a single case of COVID that can be traced back to anyone's attendance at St. James. We've been exceedingly careful. But some things have changed. And one of the things that has changed is that the virus is so prevalent in the community that no matter how careful we are, no matter how many times we wash our hands, how many times we use hand sanitizer, how many times we use masks, how well we use masks or face shields, there's a much, much higher risk now of contracting the virus in the community than there was when we started worship again in October in person. As a matter of fact, we had 3,700 new cases in South Carolina yesterday. And today, December 12th, we have just over 3,000 cases. And of those who are being tested, 23% are testing positive for the coronavirus. What that means is that it is everywhere in the community. The spread of the virus is unchecked. It is uncontrolled. And as I said, no matter how careful you are, there's a higher risk now of becoming infected than at any other time since this pandemic began. And we had a clergy call last Wednesday where we talked about how each church is responding to the challenges of the pandemic and how we're doing worship and what the future looked like, especially talking about Christmas. So many of you missed church on Easter because we were shut down. You were not able to attend on Easter. You were not able to receive Easter communion. And as a matter of fact, many of you have not been in the doors of St. James since we shut down back in March. Even when we reopened in October, many of you said that you did not quite feel safe going out into a public space with people indoors for a long period of time. Others of you have told me that you feel the safest at St. James of all the places you go. That because we follow the protocols, because we're so careful, that you have a confidence in what we're doing, that we are doing the right thing, and that you feel safe here, much more so than going to the grocery store or anywhere else. But on this clergy call, as we started talking about how we were going to do Christmas, and it became increasingly evident that the clergy are concerned about how we can best minister to our congregations in the midst of this pandemic, and how we can assemble people together to worship when there is a higher and higher risk of transmission of the virus. I had to do some rethinking about what we've been doing. I canvassed the vestry in the past week and asked them what they thought about continuing in-person worship at this time. And the vestry has been as split of opinion as the clergy are, as many of you who attend in-person worship are. But that was really before the last 48 hours, with the huge increase in the number of cases. Not only the huge increase in the number of cases, but the dwindling hospital beds that are available. And typically, we see, after a huge number of increases, 10 days later, an increase in hospitalizations. And that has weighed heavily on me over this past week, and especially the past 48 hours. because I had been planning to have 3 Christmas services and a Christmas Day service and have everybody here and in person who wanted to be here to celebrate Christmas. And yet part of me also said that I don't want to put people at risk. And I understand that everyone has their own risk assessment and their own way of weighing out that risk. But with the uncontrolled spread of the virus in our community, with the skyrocketing numbers and hospitalizations, I came to the conclusion that although I know our state government, our governor, is not going to order any kind of lockdown, we shouldn't have to wait to be told to do the right thing. So this afternoon I made the difficult decision to suspend in-person worship at St. James for the foreseeable future. I simply do not want to put you at risk, put our staff at risk, put myself at risk, when the virus is so prevalent and so easily transmitted in our communities. So as of today, December 12th, Saturday, I am suspending in-person worship at St. James, both on Sunday and on Wednesdays. This does not affect our day school. The day school has 4 days left. They will continue out their year. This does not affect Pathways, the 12-step program that meets in our Parish Life Center. Especially this time of year, that 12-step program needs to be there to support the people in that program with all that they are facing and have faced over the past year. This only affects in-person worship at St. James. So we will be back to doing online worship only. However, I do have a piece of good news as part of that. I have petitioned the bishop and have written a plan to do Eucharist for home reception to be used at St. James. And the bishop has considered that plan, and he has consulted with clergy about that plan. And there is every indication that on Monday, not tomorrow, on Monday, the bishop will approve the plan to have Eucharist for home reception on Christmas. What that means is there will be an opportunity to register online. And when you register online, you would let me know how many people you would like to receive communion for. On Christmas Day, there will be a time where you can drive up in your car and pick up an envelope with consecrated sacrament and take it home. And then join us Christmas Eve for a live stream service and celebrate communion at home with your family as we are celebrating it, the 2 or 3 of us who will be here in the church, where we can gather together as a church, virtually, but still gather together and still break bread together, continue in the Apostles' Fellowship and in the prayers. I expect the bishop will approve that on Monday, and as soon as the bishop approves it, I will put up a registration page so that you can sign up to receive Eucharist for home delivery, and not home delivery, but home reception. My brothers and sisters, this is a really difficult decision that I had to make. I hate the thought of not having people in the church on Christmas as much as I hated the thought of not having people in the church on Easter. But in good conscience, I just cannot put people at risk. I cannot put my staff at risk. I don't want to put myself at risk. So I come to this decision after thinking about it carefully and weighing it out. And I hope you understand the decision I've made and the reasons that I've made it. As we look forward to the new year, let it be our prayer that 2020 be behind us. Let it be our prayer that this virus will get under control, that the vaccinations will work, that medications will be developed to help those who do come down with it persevere and survive it. And let us pray that we will once again be able to gather together around one table with one bread and one cup. Until then, I ask you to pray for those who are sick, pray for those doctors, nurses, first responders, healthcare workers, scientists and researchers that are working to treat and contain human disease and who are putting themselves at risk. I ask you to pray for those who are in jobs that are necessary for the functioning of our economy and to feed people and to keep the lights on. Those necessary jobs that keep us going in the midst of all that is going wrong. I ask you to pray for those workers, those essential workers. I ask you to pray for one another. Pray for those who are shut in. Pray for those who live alone. Pray for those going through emotional and mental distress because of the isolation, because of the separation, and because of fear and anxiety. And my brothers and sisters, pray for the family of St. James. We will get through this together. We will come out the other side. And we will be as strong coming out as we were going in. Pray for me and my ministry and for your staff that continues to minister in difficult circumstances. But most of all, keep yourself safe. Mask your face. Give it some space. Stay home unless you must go out. And when you do go out, take every precaution you can. This has been a difficult year. And this is a difficult decision. But I know it's the right one. And I hope you will think it's the right one too. God bless you and keep you.